Holland, reporting from West Belfast in the aftermath of a momentous election. We're going to be speaking to two long-term community activists from West Belfast. Paul Maskey MP, who's been politically active since 2001, and Councillor Geraldine McAteer, who became politically active in her teens.
I was born and bred in New Lodge Road over in the north of the city. It was quite heavy with regards to, I suppose, violence on our streets, a number of friends who were shot and killed, a number of family members who were attacked, I had brothers who were interned in jail without trial. So if you weren't politically minded in North Belfast at that particular time, and then I don't know what you were doing, because I think everybody, all my friends were all obviously involved in trying to improve their community, but nobody escaped, I suppose, the wrath of the British Army at that particular time. So people wanted to ensure that they've had enough of the old, and they do want to see a difference, and they see Sinn Féin, they see Michelle O'Neill as being people in the party who are going to deliver that change for them. That's why they cast their vote. So the mood was excellent, even over the polling station where you're over the count on Friday morning and Saturday. You knew by the amount of votes that's coming out, the tallies on the counting station, spectacular. Again, the first I've seen it. We had 4 candidates out of 5 candidates in West Belfast. No other constituency has done that or would even attempt to do that. But we're a bit mad in West Belfast, where we always try to push the boundary as far as we possibly can, and it succeeded for us. But I'm glad we did. I'm glad we pushed our way, and I'm glad we got it, because now what we have now is 27 MLAs for Sinn Féin. We now have the First Minister designate. And I would urge people, and we've all urged people, likes of Jeffrey Donaldson, to do the right thing and get in there and work government. A title is a title, so First Minister, Junior Minister, Deputy First Minister, it has the same power, same role, but it's the significance of having that First Minister title by your name. But it's all it is a title. I want to make sure that our party and all of our representatives work with everybody around that executive table, because we need to continue on the work of the past. You see the work with Martin McGuinness had set out very clearly when he was Deputy First Minister, set out about engaging with all sections of our communities, and I think that work has paid off now. But I think that's why people are putting their faith and confidence in Sinn Féin to deliver that. But I want to work with all parties around that executive table, whether it's an executive, whether it's in City Hall or wherever it is. I want to continue that work with all parties to make sure that we have a better future, because that's where it's at. That's where politics is at, and that's where people are demanding. They want to see a better future. Too many issues are to be tackled, and we need to get around the table to tackle that. So pulling the Assembly down, the Executive out, and not nominating ministers, I think is wrong. And I do think that people will put pressure on the likes of Jeffrey Donaldson to do the right thing. At some stage he's going to have to do that.
Your teens.
I actually first became an activist around 14-15, and the political climate was really very heated. We were in the middle of the conflict. It was around 1971-72, and we, I guess, had been through 1969 the whole onslaught on the Falls Road. I'm originally from the lower end of the Falls Road. But we had moved up to Andersonstown, up to the Glen Road. So, as a child, aged about 13, 14, younger than that even, you were influenced by the civil rights movement that was happening. My brother would have been an activist in the long walk to Derry and all of that, very active. And after the, initial civil rights movement, when there was a great deal of hope and so on, then the actual conflict started, the pogroms and that. With Operation Motorman in 1972, that again, just a year later, almost was a huge British Army operation, and they just smashed through the whole lot of us, all the wee barricades that people put up and all the rest, and they took over. In our neighbourhood, the parish hall, the youth club, St Genevieve School, I think part of LaSalle School, any kind of community facility, and they just sent the amount of troops they sent them was colossal. Any kind of spare ground, there was a big sort of green, in the middle of our housing estate, and they just built themselves a big fort, which we all call Silver City, and I swear it just looked like something that you would see in a Wild West film. This corrugated iron and a huge fort, and the big, the big pillars or whatever that they, you know, patrolled out of. They just sort of were on guard constantly. Then what they did was they sent out their patrols, and they were in jeeps and Saracens and so on, and it was an occupying army.
Mm-hmm.
And occupying armies don't wear kid gloves. Their job is to put you down.
Tá my ceathair déag mí dish. I've lived in Belfast all my life, and I've never saw an armed British soldier, and I've never been called a tiger or fenian. I'm able to go to a secondary school where I can learn through my native language, and in the future I hope to keep campaigning for my own language rights in a 32-county Ireland.
Geraldine and Paul spent their formative years in what was effectively a war zone. Today's teenagers have a lot more opportunities. They're growing up in peace, and they have a more positive outlook. Language rights and women's rights are still issues and still ongoing campaigns, but overall, the view from West Belfast is one of hope. This has been Sarah Holland reporting from West Belfast. To catch up on more news, follow my Twitter.